high school football season gets really simple right now. Lose, go home. Win, advance to the state finals at Ford Field. Hi, I'm Dave Boucher, staff writer for the Gratiot County Herald. Here, joining me today for Gridiron Guru Plus Edition 9 is fellow staff writer Curtis Wildfong and our publisher Tom McDonald. We're going to hop into two area games really quick and then look at the Fulton and Ithaca matchups. Let's start out with Mount Pleasant, 12-0, playing East Grand Rapids, also 12-0, at Ferris.
I'm sorry, Mount Pleasant, and really, I'm sorry for any team in the D3. East Grand Rapids runs it. 4 straight state championships, 6 of the last 8. Last time they lost the game was in 2008, so I have East Grand Rapids winning.
Streaks are made to be broken. You know what? I'm going with the Oilers. The Oilers are breaking the streak this year. Oilers are going to into Ford Field.
I gotta agree with Tom here. You know, I think the Oilers running back Alex Horton gonna do it for him. Gonna break that 31-game win streak that East Grand Rapids has right now. Moving on, Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart, 11-1, plays Crystal Falls Forest Park, also 11-1, at the Superior Dome on Friday night.
You're right, streaks are made to be broken, but only in D8 this year. Crystal Falls Forest Park's been there for 6 straight years, but Sacred Heart's too good.
I agree. Sacred Heart is, I think their over-the-top game is going to take it to Crystal Falls. Crystal Falls is always big, physical people, but Sacred Heart's moving on.
Right, the Irish have only given up 14 total points in the playoffs this year and scored 134. They're just a too dominant of a program for Forest Park to take them. So let's move on now into the Fulton versus Saugatuck matchup. The Pirates are 8-4, Indians 9-3. They're going to be playing at Grand Rapids Christian at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Fulton is entering the game after a huge 20-13 win at Deckerville last week. Quarterback Zach Baker really understood the magnitude of the win for his team.
Holy cow, it's huge. I mean, we kind of had the win taken of ourselves. We'd have to go there with that long kickoff return, but it just shows the resilience in our guys. We just kept believing and kept grinding it out. And once we got the ball and once we kind of sustained the drive and chewed up that clock, we knew that Fulton football would be all right today.
Thanks, Zach. And the Indians are entering the game after putting a beating to North Adams Jerome, 34-15. You know, what are your opening comments here and concerns about this game?
2 similar seasons for these two teams. Both kind of just made it into the playoffs, struggling in the regular season at 6-3 and 5-4 with the two teams. Just got hot in the playoffs. They're beating good teams. I don't know if you would have said at the beginning of the season that Saugatuck versus Fulton, or at the beginning of the postseason, Saugatuck-Fulton would be the semifinals match. I think a lot of people would have maybe laughed at you, but here we are.
You know, you get Fulton, beating the #1 ranked team, and then going down to New Lothrop, and it's a miracle season for Fulton, and I think that it's going to be a good matchup, but, the Pirates are always tough,
Right. So I didn't know too much about Saugatuck, so I actually gave their head coach, Bill Dunn, a call just to see what I could hear. And he said that if you were to describe his team, they're a powerful club and they're a physical club. And that's something really, that I think Fulton can handle, but it's obviously going to present some issues for their team. They're a rush-heavy attack, put up 400-plus yards on the ground last week. Gonna run a similar offense to what Fulton saw against Deckerville.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds awfully familiar. It sounds just like Deckerville, which, like you were talking about earlier, it took a little bit for Fulton to get their game plan down against Deckerville. They started out pretty good on offense, Deckerville did, and then from that point they had nothing. Fulton stopped them. They couldn't get anything. I think they're going to learn from that game, take that game plan, keep running into the Saugatuck game. And
yeah, how much better could you have? I mean, Saugatuck plays the same offense that Deckerville played. You already had a week. You beat the one team. You got another week to practice against the same thing. I'm sorry. I don't think Saugatuck has that tough a league, and I think that they shouldn't be here. And I think Fulton will move on to this one, and send Saugatuck back packing,
Yeah, the difference this week I see, though, is that this may be the varsity version of that offense. It might be a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. They have a running back named by the name of Ethan Colton who is pretty good. He's got over 2,000 yards rushing this year, 20 touchdowns. I mean, that's better than anything Deckerville had to offer. They've also got a quarterback that you'll probably talk about that's pretty good, too. So I think it's maybe just an A version of what Deckerville throw
right.
there.
Their quarterback, Andrew Speed, has been described as the Mr. Do-Everything for this team. He returned the opening kickoff against the #2 ranked Climax Scots team, 85 yards for a touchdown. but he also suffered a mild shoulder separation in that game. Coach told me that he made it 2.5 quarters last week before they had to shut him down, but he should be ready to go this week. So that's obviously going to give their offense a pretty big boost as well.
Yeah, a kid that age with an injury like that, he gets into this game, he's not going to feel it. His adrenaline's going to be pumping so much. I don't think that's going to play too much of a factor. But maybe something that might play a factor is the field. I think this is the first time either of those teams have played on artificial turf. Do you guys see that speeding any team up or playing to an advantage on either side? Or
I don't know if this Fulton team, if the seniors have ever played on artificial turf before that, it's not that much different. It's going to make Fulton quicker. I just hope Fulton doesn't give up. I hope they aren't satisfied. I hope they're still hungry. They still want one. No matter if they lose, I hope they feel. They feel it. Because they can do this. I think, wouldn't it be great to see a Fulton Sacred Heart final?
Yep.
What a great story that would be.
Speaking of great stories, I talked to Coach Winkler after last week's game, and he knows how much this is going to mean for his guys, not only now, but just in the future and the rest of their lives.
When you're a coach and you can see your kids achieve what they're achieving right now, you can't ask for more to see them, because these are lifelong lessons that they're learning right now.
So what's going to put it over the top for the Fulton Pirates?
Defense. Defense. And then their 1-2 punch with Baker and Barton.
Neither teams have really anything to lose. They've gotten further than they probably expected they would. They're going to throw it all out there, but the difference is experience. Fulton's been there in the playoffs a little bit deeper than Saugatuck has. I don't know if there were any players on the team from that 2007 state appearance, but I'm sure they were in the stands, so they know what it's like. They've been there. So I think that's what's going to put them over the edge. I have Fulton winning.
Mm-hmm. The Saugatuck head coach did comment that Fulton has a great tradition. They're a well-coached club. He's excited to play them. Coach Winkler, said that Saugatuck kind of mirrors their own sort of schedule and season where they're peaking at the end. Played a great game against Climax Scots. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. Obviously, the last 3 games for Fulton have just come down to the wire. This one's no different. I have the Pirates taking it 28-27.
Well, the Macy ratings have Fulton beating 31-21. I don't know if I believe that so much, but I think Fulton wins it by a touchdown. The Pirates move on.
Then we can roll into our second Gratiot County team looking to make an appearance at Ford Field here, the undefeated Ithaca Yellowjackets. Traveling to the UP to take on Iron Mountain. I'll be going up to that game. Never been to the UP. Excited to go up there, excited to watch a game. I'm not sure how many guys from Ithaca have been up there. I'm not sure if it'll affect them too much. Coach Hesbrick doesn't think it will affect him too much. He doesn't really care where they play, and this is what he had to say about it.
No, it really doesn't. I don't think these kids care, and I don't think that his coaching staff cares. We're just happy to be moving on, be in the Final Four for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, I'm eager to see how they make the trip and get down to business.
Your concern is that these kids go up there like they've never been across the bridge. They've never, been to the UP. I hope they don't get caught up in all this stuff. Our job is to enjoy the scenery and all this stuff. Their job is to get down to business and win football games. Dave, I just kind of hope that the Ithaca team, does their job well because they've never been to the UP. Worry about Curtis. I hope they know that the bridge doesn't scare him going across or something.
I know. He was talking a little bit about how scared he was going to be today. But you speak about the business of going up there to play. And obviously, playing in the Superior Dome is going to be a little bit different for these guys. It's an indoor dome. I actually talked to Coach Winkler about playing in the Superior Dome a couple weeks back. He said it's the hottest field they're going to play on all season long. The carpet was tearing up his guys when he played. I'm not sure if it's any different than it is now. And then it's the driest place they played. He said his guys were coming off the field panting, saying, "I can't breathe. It's so dry in here."
Yeah, they're going to try to do their best to simulate the atmosphere up there with going to Central's Indoors Complex today, I believe. Today's Wednesday, and then tomorrow, Thursday, at Michigan State. So they're trying to get a feel for it, but it's not going to be the same. It's a little bit different.
I've talked to Coach Hesbrick, and he's told me that Iron Mountain was big and physical. They got a tough running back. They got their defensive, the linebackers up for Defensive Player of the Year. Those things are all great. Montrose had a big team. But they got talented kids. How many teams have as many talented kids as Ithaca's got? You know, they got 4 receivers. You know, are you going to have 4 defensive backs that can keep up with these guys? You know, you got a great running back, you got a great quarterback. I think the key is going to be their defense. The most points they've ever given up is 19 points. You know, so it's one of those that, yeah, they're big and physical, they're tough, but not very many teams has the talent.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to get into is the depth that Ithaca has in their skill positions. They really came to the forefront last week. Alex Nizdak spread the ball around pretty well. He threw it to 4 different receivers, 8 different guys actually touched the ball, either on the ground, in the air. They were spreading the ball around well. Nizdak said he was feeling really good.
I came over to Coach Hesbrook after a couple throws in my run and told him I didn't know what was going on, but I felt like Peyton Manning back there, that I wasn't throwing to people, I was throwing to windows. And that's what they say you got to do, and I was doing it. And so I told him I was clicking, just dial it up, I'll do whatever he asks.
And he did play kind of like Peyton Manning, spreading that ball around like that. But it's not really just last game, it's been all season. Like you said, they have 4 different receivers. 4 of them have over 400 yards receiving this year. I mean, that's guys number 1, number 2 receivers in most schools. I'm not sure how many schools in D6 have seen something like that. And I'm especially not sure how many teams in the UP have seen something like that. It's a different style of football up there. Not sure they've seen it. I'm not sure they're going to be able to handle it, and I think that's the big advantage.
At the same time, though, you got to look at that UP style of ball and see whether or not Ithaca has actually handled something like that. You know, taking a look at this Iron Mountain team, they're obviously no joke. They lost their first game to Ishpeming, who's actually in the state semifinals in D7, I believe.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost since. They haven't played a close game since. They went in last week to play Sutton's Bay, an undefeated team, and just annihilated 41-17, in complete control of the game. Sutton's Bay's coach was quoted afterwards to describe their team. He used the words pounding, 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 and buzzsaw. This is a very, very competent Mountaineers squad.
Yeah, and that's when you look at Ithaca up and down the roster, they've got pretty much everything you can ask for on the offensive side of the ball, and for the most part on the defense. But the only really question mark you can come up with on this team is perhaps that defensive line, and that's probably what Iron Mountain sees as well, and that's probably what they're going to go after. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy one.
But you look at 19 points is the most they've ever given up. That was Conspero. You know, St. Charles pounds the ball down. You know, Montrose last week pounded the ball. You know, we stopped it. It's not just a senior-led team.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are, you know, and they're afraid to pass it around. Everybody wants it. You know, I want you to do well. I want you to do well. It's a team effort. These kids they're rolling.
Well, what do you think puts Ithaca into the Ford Field? I think we all picked them here, but what was your reasoning?
Their defense and their talented players on offense. I just don't think there's a team out there, you know, maybe get down to the finals, you know, but I don't think Iron Mountain can keep up with the quickness of our receivers.
You know, I think Iron Mountain is a very, very talented team. They just announced the all UP team today, and there are 3 guys on the team there. So they have some guys that can definitely make some plays. They're going to pound you. They're going to be big. They're going to be physical. That could present some challenges, but like we talked about, Ithaca has too many weapons. You know, and I think that passing attack is going to be something that's completely foreign to Iron Mountain. It's really going to be the key for Ithaca to get the win.
Yeah,
I have them coming ahead 35-28.
I agree 100%. I think it's going to be their offense that puts them over the edge. I know they only scored 28 points last week, but in my opinion, that was probably their best offensive performance all year. They played flawless offensive football in that first half. Alex wasn't joking when he said he was feeling it. He was feeling it. I think he carries it on to the next game. I have Ithaca winning by a touchdown.
They only scored 28 points last week because they only wanted to score 28 points last week. If they wanted to put up 80 and they wanted to keep their foot down on the gas, I think they could have done it.
Well, I know the Macy 28, 26 Ithaca, but I got them 35-14. Merrill still has the most points against Ithaca. Ithaca goes, for the first time ever, to Ford Field.
Well, there you have it. The Gurus have spoken. Apparently, we're going to Ford Field next week for 2 teams. So, for Curtis Wildfong, staff writer, and Tom McDonald, our publisher, I'm Dave Boucher. Thanks for joining us. To see whether or not our picks actually come true here, make sure you pick up a copy of next week's Herald for all the latest details, analysis, and features. Thanks for joining us today.
Dave starts telling me about cars being blown off the bridge, thinking I might have to take the.
I know, his knuckles were getting a little light when I told him that.